Functions are very important in Python. So let's take a real life analogy. What are functions? So functions are a reusable part of code that you write once but can be used repeatedly whenever there is a required. Okay. So let's say here is a sample. We have write definition. So this is how you write function. You declare function by writing a keyword called def, and you write the function name. So the name can be anything. It's up to you. It's not that there is except reserved keywords. You can write anything. So since we are greeting, so we have written greet, and then there is a semicolon here. So this is the structure of a function, and then whatever comes inside should be indented. So we have a concept of indentation in function, right? So in Python, right? So that is, it takes four spaces. So after you hit enter, so anything that you are saying should come inside the function, it should be four spaces. So our statement should be here. So when we say great, it says hello from function. So in case, if you break this indentation, it will error out. Expected an indented block. So that means after, so whatever you want to print from a function, you want to execute from a function, there should be an indentation of four spaces like this. So next, what is this? We are calling that function. So the same function name, we are taking it and using a curly open and close brackets to call that function. So this is how a sample syntax of function. Okay. So now we'll talk about functions in more detail. So in short, function is like moduling your code. It's like modularization. So let's take an example of car manufacturers. So when a car manufacturer builds a car, so what they do, they have separate team who build engines. They have separate team who build seats or doors, who build the car body structure, and finally they all bring together and assemble it. So that way they will be able to manufacture lots of cars. So if they just try to build everything, whole car at once, so they will not be able to build faster, they will not be able to reuse, because all these things like engines, seats, they are reusable components, and these things they can use in other models of the car. So it's like they have module their uh, you know departments in such a way that they will be able to reuse those components. So similar, it's a real life example. The same way, one more example we can think of is brick makers. So what do? They have different size of molds and different shapes. So one thing is it will standardize the size and shape. So let's say they get an order. So they will not make each brick separately by hand. So that will take a lot of time, and they will not be able to deliver on time also. So what do? They have a mold. They use that mold, and uh, that uh, they will be able to reuse to make that shape, or whatever the size is required. So that is how modularization happens in real life. So same way, even in programming, we use functions to module the code, reuse the same logic, so that we can just run the function and get whatever we need. Okay. So let's see in detail, why do we need functions. Okay. So one thing is, there's a dry principle. So dry means don't repeat yourself. So in, let's say you have the requirement of writing addition multiple times in the programming. So add this number, subtract, add, subtract. So every time what you have to do, you have to write a plus b. You have to declare variables, and you have to write this a plus b. So let's say you have got this requirement one more time, you will write a plus b. So instead of doing this repeatedly, we write this function, we call the function. If you want to add, we'll call this sum function, and we'll pass the values. So we'll talk about it, how to pass the values in the later slides. So the first principle, why do we need function, is because we can avoid repetitions. Okay. So the next is, it improves code clarity and organization. Like, we can properly organize our code. Let's say you have an application, you want to add an user, remove user, update user information. So for each of these tasks in an application, you can write a function. So that way, let's say tomorrow you got a requirement to add some features in your application, you'll just modify that particular block of code. That way, it helps you organize your code and gives clarity whatever you have in your application. Similarly, in real life, you can think of a book. So book has multiple chapters. So let's say an author is writing a book, he will think of writing different chapters first, then he will compile it all together. So if there is a correction that needed in any chapter, he will go back to that chapter itself. He will not correct the complete book. So similar analogy we can say. So it's organizing the code, and it gives more clarity. So it is easy to debug and test also. So if you have to debug your code, and uh, find errors, find where the issue is, so what you can do, let's say you have a big application that has lot of functions, you can test each of these functions one by one, then your tests will be completed. So let's say in a team, people 5 to 10 people are working, they are building an application. So this code organization, what it does is, it also helps people collaborate. So 10 people can build 10 different functions. Suppose um, user a, developer a, he will build add function, developer b, he will build delete function, developer c, he will build update function. So that way, at the same time, they are able to work on the same application separately, and they will finally just combine that into one big program. So it helps collaborate, reduce time, as well as uh, avoid repetition, and parallelly they can work on the same application without one developer has to wait on other developers. So they are working independently, and they'll combine it together at once at the end. So next, fifth is, it will enable advanced features. So we'll see this in later sessions. So these advanced features are built in functions, such as recursion. You have to write recursions, functional programming, lambda expressions, decorators, and more. Okay. Okay. So let's let's write a simple function. Okay. Say hello. So as we discussed, what is the keyword? So whenever you are writing a function, just define def keyword. So this says you are writing a function. Then we write function name. Say hello. Then open and close brackets. Then you give colon. So this says you are defining a function. Okay. Then if you hit enter, so whatever comes after this indented block, so this is four spaces. You can go back, one, two, three, four. So this is indentation in Python. So that means we are executing inside the function block. So I'm writing print hello. Okay. So now my job is done. Now, how do I execute this? So if I execute this program, this will not print anything. So the next thing is I need to call the function. To print it, I need to call it. So same, whatever the function I have defined, I will call it using say hello, open and close brackets. So that way, this will call the function, this will go here, and it will execute whatever is inside this function. So similarly, if you want to build, declare another function. So what are the steps? First is def keyword. Next, step 2, function name. Step 3, and you have to compulsorily give colon. Then step 4, write the logic inside the function. So whatever you want to execute. And step 5, call the function. So these are the steps involved in writing a function. So I'll comment these steps out. Okay. So using this logic, we'll write goodbye function. So I'll declare the variable, write my function name, open and close brackets, then give a colon, and also I can include one more step, step 4.1, write the logic in that block. So we have to give an indentation of 4 spaces and print goodbye. So now we have written the logic. So here the logic is simple. Is we are printing it. We are not writing it complex logic, but we can write complex logic also. So now I'm calling my function. You say goodbye. So this is how a simple function works. Now moving on, function will take parameters also. Okay. So function will take parameters. So what are those parameters? Let's see. So here we didn't have any parameters inside a function. So to effectively work with functions, you need to have parameters. So I'm saying I will pass a parameter. So if I do not pass, so let's say I'm executing this function. So this function has parameter called name. So that means it's asking a parameter. So what it says, great user, missing one required positional argument called name. So it's expecting a name. So that means it's expecting an input from the user. So I need to provide whatever the text. So it's asking name. So based on the name, it will greet me. Okay. So this is how it will work. So we are taking an argument parameters inside a function. So similarly, if you want to welcome a user, you can write this function and welcome a user. So now a function can take more than one argument. So here there is one parameter only. So uh, there is one parameter name. You can take another parameter age. So you can pass it. So for example, I say comma age. So similarly, when I have two parameters inside my function, so I have defined my function with two parameters. So I have to pass two parameters. So if I do not pass, then what it says, so I just passed one parameter and I'm running my function, I'm calling my function. So it says greet user missing one required positional argument called age. So I need to pass one more. Now it took now it ran successfully, but it didn't print. Why? Because we didn't print, print it. So let me print it here. So this is how it will work. So you can add multiple parameters also. So you can add multiple parameters. Okay. Okay. Just one second. Okay. So till now here we have seen function with parameters. So let's see function with return values. So every function will return a value. So for example, let me execute this. So here you can see we have defined DEF definition add of a comma b. These are my parameters. Then I'm saying return. So every function will return a value. So how does it happen is we'll define a function add and we'll say a comma b and then give a colon. When we say return a plus b, so we are returning a value. We are returning our logic. So this is our logic. Okay. So when I call my function add, so here I'm calling my function. So when I'm calling my function, I have to pass those values. So whatever the number I want to add. So when I run it, it says 30. Now, whatever the value that function is printing, even I can take that in another variable called result. So let's say I have a complex long program. So I can take that value and pass it in another program. I can do that. So by default, this is how it will work. So a function returns a value. So the advantage of this is you can write so many functions. So I take definition. I can write subtraction function. Just say subtraction, and instead of returning a plus b, I'll say a minus b. Okay, so what happened to this? It's not taking. Let me restart this. Oh, sorry, I'm calling the wrong function. Okay, got it. So I'm calling the sub. When I say sub, it says minus 10. So this is how a function uh, will return values. So now you can practice these tasks: how to multiply, how to subtract, how to divide, division. Okay. So now function will take default arguments also. Okay. So we can define default arguments. So what are default arguments? So let's see here. So let's say I have defined a function sum, and I'm saying a equal to 10 comma b equal to 20. So what I'm saying, if the user, I have to give colon here, rent a plus b. Okay. Now I'll call my function. So, so notice here, I'm not passing any value. I'm just calling my function. So it will run it. So previously we have seen when we have a variable a comma b here, we passed values 10 comma 20. So what we are saying is, in case someone doesn't provide values, so in case if someone doesn't provide any values or pass any values to the function while calling it, by default take these two, 10 and 30. So now notice here I'm passing another values 10 and 50. So now let me run the program. It will take whatever the values I am passing. So if I do not pass values, it will take defaultly 10 and 30. So that is how we can make our program error free. So by using default arguments. Okay, so you can practice this task, write a function, define a default function, city Hyderabad, and call it. So, and try to provide different city values and see if you do not provide any value, whether it errors out or whether it works. Just try out these tasks. Okay. So now moving on to next task, keyword arguments. Okay. So we can pass keyword argument to functions also. So let's see an example. We have declared definition. We have defined this function student info name comma age, and we are calling this function here. So while calling, so by default function takes positional arguments. So even in the above task we have seen an error, right? So positional argument is missing. So let me show you one more time. Here you can see positional argument q. So that means uh, functions, they take values in whatever the position we are assigning while we are calling it. So while calling it, name is first, so I'm providing name first. So it maps this position. So age variable is second, age parameter is second in my function define. Then I'm passing my age as a number as a second value while calling it. So similarly, q, so qualification I'm defining third. So that's why I have to pass the qualification at third level. So I'll define qualification BSc. So it will take these values. So now if I do not provide this positional argument q, it says missing one positional argument. Now, can you provide these values in a different order? No, you cannot provide. So let me remove this q. So it's taking, see, he says hello 24. 24 is not a name. Age, sure. So it's messed up. So that's why to handle these kind of scenarios, we can use keyword arguments. So let me revert this back. In keyword arguments, my name is first, age is second. So what I'm doing is I'm not worried about the order. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this age variable and I'm providing it first and saying equal to 22. So that way, whatever the sequence you write while calling the function, it doesn't affect the function. So it properly printed our result. Name is, it took name from here, even though it's first, I wrote it at the second place while calling the function. Even the age we have defined at the second place, while calling the function, I wrote age at the first place by declaring this variable, making it clear to the function that this is my value. So this is how keyword arguments you can use. So similarly, you can practice this task, write a function to print book info, title and author, and reverse this order in the same way. And you can add more and more arguments so that it makes your practice clear. So now next we have variable length arguments. So in real time programs, these variable length arguments are used a lot, args and quarks. So this allow functions to accept any number of arguments. So here you can see we are fixing the number of arguments. So name, age, name. So let's say we don't know how many number of arguments the function or the user may provide. So it may be 10, 20, 30. There is no fixed number. So we don't know fixed number. So in those cases, we can use this args and quarks. So what is the difference between them? So first, let's see what are args and quarks. Okay. So arg is like ordering food, but by just saying, I want pizza, pasta, and coke. So when you declare args dot star args function, so it's like you're saying to the waiter, I want pizza, pasta, and coke. But when you are declaring quarks, it's like you're saying, I want pizza, but it should be in large size. I want pasta, which is Alfredo. I want drink, that is Coke. So you are specifically describing your requirement. So that is the actual difference. Okay. So in terms of differences between args and quarks, uh, args stands for arguments and quad stands for keyword arguments. So this is same like these keyword arguments, but here we have fixed it. But when you use this double star kwargs, you're saying that any number of arguments can come into my function. I will handle it. So what is the data type? Args will take, it will take a tuple, and it's a positional arguments. It will take, anyhow it will take positional arguments. But when it comes to kwargs, it will take dictionary of keyword arguments. Okay. So what are the use cases? Like when you don't know how many positional arguments will be passed, like when you don't know how many like you have a task to sum numbers, sum of do sum of numbers, 10, 20, 30. Now you got one more task, sum of numbers of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 10 something. So any number you can keep on incrementing. So those kind of positional arguments, it will be passed to the args uh, keyword. And then when it comes to quarks, it named arguments will be passed. Okay. So let's see an example here. So you want to add two numbers. Okay. So I have write same thing. We write as function, but instead of passing a comma b, we say star args, and we say total is equal to sum of. So we are just calculating and putting this total into a variable, and we are printing it. Now I'll call this function here, add numbers 10, 20, 30, 40. So here you can see we have not defined A, B, C, D, but I'm able to pass multiple numbers. How, how is it possible? Due to star args. So let me execute it. Okay, so what is the problem here? Can only concat. init tuple, not int to tuple. So something I am passing. Okay, let me write it separately. So def add numbers star args arguments. So this will take positional arguments. So I'll say sum of args. So I'll take it in a variable sum of these all these arguments. Then I'll print the addition of all the numbers is portable. Now I will call this function add numbers and I will pass 10 and 20. So let's see what what is the error here. It's not taking print a plus b where's the print? Okay, let's debug this. Okay, so it's taking proper values. So when I'm doing add numbers, okay, it's able to take 10, 20, 30, 40. So if I do print sum of args, so it's a data type error. So let me check.
So we can convert the tuple into string or something.
Oh, so these are actually numbers. Okay, float of. Okay, so I think int of we have to do might be int of. So let me grab if I have any other program related to arguments. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, so I'm calling this function and let me provide some values and what it does. The same thing. Can only concatenate tuple, not not into tuple. So Okay, so let me check it here. Type error can concatenate tuple, not into tuple. When trying to concatenate tuple type and in type as shown below. Okay, so it's trying to concatenate tuple plus integer. So I changed integer type to tuple type as shown below. Then the error above was solved.
You have to change the character of that statement.
Character.
I think we have to change the character of int to something else, right?
Where where you'll see print a plus b. I think it's referring some other program. Okay, okay, okay. I got it. So sum is similar. Sum total sum. Okay, it's referring some other program.
It's taking above cells since
Yeah,
we have defined no in above cells sum as 10 plus 20. Yeah, below down it went.
add sub and sum. Okay, it's referring to this. Yes, I will remove this. Let me run this. Okay, now we got. So it was referring to other program we wrote. So there was a conflict. So that's why error on.
Like
So
if
what it
we
does,
with same variable name, so it will
hmm,
take the first one, right?
what is it?
If we define like same variable for multiple statements, so it will refer to the first one.
Yeah, yeah. Since we are running this in notebook, it's referring that. So if you write it in separate as a program .py file, so there is no chance that it will refer. Since in the same notebook we are running, right? So it already remembered that. So it stored that in memory. So that's why it was referring to that. So when I cleared that, it went on. So actually we are calling a sum function, that is internal function that takes multiple arguments and adds all those and gives us the output. Okay. So now coming back to our topic, which is args, is it takes positional arguments. So the positional arguments are 10, 20, 30, 40. We can provide many more, 50, 60, 70. Okay. So like we can keep on incrementing. I say 60. So it took it. So when we are not sure how many values we may provide, so we can use this dot args. Okay. Okay. So I think the meeting will end in few minutes. So if it gets disconnected, please rejoin. So this is about args. It takes positional arguments. So similarly, the same program here. So it's running. Okay. Okay. So we have already seen how to work with positional arguments, args. So when we are not sure how many arguments our function will take, we can use this. Let's move on to another one, which is quarks, keyword arguments, keyword name parameters. So these are variable names assigned to values with named parameters. Okay. So if I want to print details of students, okay, so I can write my define my definition with df keyword, write my function name, and open and close brackets, give this keyword double star kwrgs keyword arguments. Now I'm using for loop to loop through the dictionary. So whatever the items that I will provide, I'll loop through it. I'll call my function and provide named arguments here. So here you notice we are providing name. So along with the variable name, we are providing the value. So age is the variable name and value. City variable name value. So this is how we'll do. So now likewise, we can add more and more details. Qualification MBA. So I'll execute. It will right here.
Okay.
State Telangana. So I'll execute. It will come up here. So likewise, more and more arguments we can provide here. So it's a robust. Actually, in production, these kind of keyword arguments are used a lot in production programming, in data engineering, also in data science, machine learning. So when you want to build something, a program, something for users where they provide certain values to get the output. So these kind of keyword arguments are used a lot to build robust applications. So similarly, we have see if we have to display a student profile, we are defining a function student profile, and we are printing student profile details, and we are providing the value here. We are calling it here. So once I
So in
execute,
this get is
that's
the inbuilt function or it's a variable get?
yeah. So it's a function for quarks. So what it does is it checks. So here you can notice I'm printing three things: name, age, and city. So let's say I'll not print city. I will not pass city value. So what it will do is it will get it will try to get the city value. So if it is not available, so default it will print not provided. So let me execute this. Here we can see. So it's a get is a function. It's related to quarks.
Okay.
Okay. So now similarly, we have one more function to check if a key exists or not. So check what we are checking: name and city arrays. So what if age in quarks? So if we are checking age if age is provided, whatever the age it is provided, if it is available, then print it, else no age keyword is not provided. So if I provide it here, now it will print it age found. Next, similarly, uh, sum of numeric values. So if I want to combine numeric data along with my other you know other data types, so I can do this. So I can write sum of numeric values, and I can print it here. So here you're looping it for value in this one, quack dot values. So this quack keyword arguments, it has certain function to extract the data from it. So dot values is also another function. So we have seen dot get, right? So here dot values will extract whatever the values available in this, and it will check if it is what is the type of that value that we extracted from arguments. Is it int or float? So based on that, it will add it. So here you can see we have provided 10, 20, 5.5, and 6, and name equal to data. So now what it does is it's checking. So whatever the value that user is providing, is it integer or float? So only take those values, rest ignore it. So if I provide a equal to 22, comma b equal to 1.1, these two values, it will take it. So this is the condition that checks that. If okay, so A is already available. That's it's now C is also available. E F. Now if I provide any strings qualification, then it will ignore it. Okay, so let's see one more program using keyword arguments. Okay, so we have to generate a report, dynamic report based on the student name and student age and department and salary. So let's run this. Okay, so I'm providing a value here. So it's the name, report name for Liam, report name for Emma. So age 30, department finance, salary 70,000, age 28, department engineering, skills. What are the skills available? Python and ML. So these kind of programs we can write. So you can see uh, we have used print statements for loop we have seen yesterday, right? Key value. So we'll see in detail how to write for loops for dictionary also. So this details dot items, these kind of keywords come in dictionary data type. So this we have not covered yet. So it's in the later sessions. So we'll see how to loop through dictionary. So that will come inside that class. Okay. So
In
that was
uh,
about functions. Yeah. You have if you have any questions.
so like okay, we have two print statements here. One is for that function and another is for loop, right? No, three
Yes.
print statements.
Yeah.
So
Right.
how it is executing it, like I'm not getting the flow of it.
Okay, so what happens is when you are calling this, it's executing this outer loop. It's before the so for one function. So let me comment this out. So for this call, let's say call one. Okay, let's call it calling first time. So when you call this function first time, so what is the name of this person? Emma. So this it will print a report for Emma. This now it will go into the for loop. It will check. It will get these details: age, department, finance, salary. So now what it will do? Key dot capitalize. So everything it's capitalizing. Uh, so not sure here. Capitalize. What it does is so might be department. Okay. So first word. So it's capitalizing first word here. You can see variable age in small letter, so it's capitalizing this salary also. Okay, so each keyword argument it's capitalizing this. Now it's displaying it here, key dot capitalize, so it's displaying
This
age
capitalize
value
is
here.
like is it default function or what? Or we are just name it's a variable.
No, it's not a default function. To format it properly we are using it. We want to format this in a consistent way, and that's why we are using it here.
Okay.
Okay, so now when it goes in the for loop, it will take three things: age, department, salary. Now it will print age 30, department finance. salary 70,000. So that is how it will print. Now let's see. If I run this program, it will just print one time. Let me comment this section. You can see it's printed just one time. So this statement is directly executed by function. So it's printing here. Function is printing this. Now this statement, all these three, this is printed by for loop. Now this all these dashes that you see, right? So we are saying print 30 dashes. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30. So these lines will be 30. So we are saying in simple words, print 30 dashes. Now if I call this function one more time, so this is my call to. So I'm calling this function second time. Now it will again start with the same process. Start report for Liam, and this will be printed in for loop. Then all the dashes will be printed. So that is how it will work. It's clear, right? I hope it is clear now.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that's what we had today. So to quickly recap uh, what we learned. So first we have seen how to define function. Define function. Function takes arguments. So by default, it will take positional arguments. So when you define function, all the steps that I have mentioned, those steps are here. So what are those steps? So when you define a function, these are the steps. Here. So these are the steps to define a function. Okay. And so next we talked about function return values. So function will always return a value. So you have to capture that value in another variable or something. Now function
I
will
I have not understood this return also.
return. You didn't understand?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to return.
So I have seen like it is being used widely, right? Return.
Yeah, return function will be used widely. Yes, that's right. So return is part of the syntax. So whenever you write a function, it will return a value. So how do you return a value? By writing a return keyword. So that is how it will work. So in the return keyword, you're writing a logic. So what you want to return from this function? So we are sending 5 and 7 values. So what is the logic that you are building inside your function that you are returning it back to the caller? So where I'm calling? I'm calling it here. I'm declaring here at the first line, and at the fourth line I'm calling it. So whenever I'm calling the function, it should return something. So what is that? It's returning a plus b. So that is called return functioning, returning a value. Is it clear now?
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Okay. So similarly, we are returning the logic a minus b, a into b, multiply and division, same thing. You can return complex logic also, like we have seen if conditions, if this and this. So you
Yeah.
can work with string data.
Okay.
So one more place you can see here, we are returning sum of arc. So this is our logic. We are doing a summation and returning to the caller. So here is our caller,
Yeah. So
sum of
then it is
numbers.
adding 10 plus 20.
Yeah. So it will add and give it. Yeah. So it's simple. It's not complicated. It's
Yeah.
just using the keyword return. So whenever there is a function, there is must. Return is must.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we'll see a function that return values and what we have next. Yeah, return values and default arguments. So we have seen about default arguments, keyword arguments, and variable length arguments. So function with default arguments, function with keyword arguments, function with variable length arguments, which are star args and double star kwargs keyword arguments. So this is all you need to master functions. So if you learn this well, so you will become master in functions. So in real life programming, in data engineering or ML engineering, whatever DevOps. So
Okay.
wherever you want to modulize something, we write functions. Functions are a very good way to modularize your code. That is because you're writing one time and executing multiple times, right? So if you master these concepts in function, anytime you see certain code, you'll not get confused or you'll not think that something is new. So because you already learned these concepts, so this is all functions will contain. So this is all you need to master this function. Yeah. So any more
Okay.
questions you have?
No, no, that's it.
Okay. So whatever that is there in the practice tasks, you complete those, and also the previous tasks. So send me all those Python notebooks once you
Yes,
complete that. That is conditional statement, for loops, and functions. Okay.
sure, sure. I do.
Yeah. Okay then. Okay. So that's it that for today.
We have
We'll meet.
tasks in the bottom
Hmm.
or in between.
What is it?
Like we have practice sets, like questions are there or
Yeah, yeah. Questions are there in the middle. After every topic, we have this. So after this every topic you have questions. After every topic you have to do whatever that says to do, you have to do this.
no?
Okay.
Okay, thank
Okay. Thank you.
you.